Over 35 heads of state from the Commonwealth will be attending the summit, the Commonwealth Summit to be held in Kigali, the capital city of Rwanda. Viewers across the continent of Africa and the world watching. This Commonwealth comes to Africa after the COVID-19. It should have been held in 2020, and then 2021 it could not be held. It was pushed until 2022, today, June. This morning, the forums of the Commonwealth, most of us were invited. Some of us have not been able to attend. But the question that is on the top of everything, on everybody's mind is one thing: what can the Commonwealth bring to the new after COVID Africa, the economies of Africa? What is it that we can learn from what took place under COVID-19? What is it that we can say we can get? There are countries. Over 20 years ago, the British Commonwealth, Australia, New Zealand, Canada expelled Zimbabwe from the Commonwealth. Today, as we speak, Zimbabwe Foreign Ministry and the Zimbabwe Minister of Foreign Affairs and His Excellency President Mnangagwa have been trying and saying and asking that we need to go back to the Commonwealth. The trigger of expulsion of Zimbabwe from the Commonwealth triggered sanctions. It is Britain that triggered the sanctions that came to bite Zimbabwe after the expulsion. Zimbabwe needs to be readmitted in the Commonwealth. During the Mugabe government, most of us told the British, I told Tony Blair myself, in 1998, I stood up in the Labour Delegates Conference and said it was better to engage Mugabe than isolating Mugabe. I have no regrets for having stood by Zimbabwe. Those malcontents, those who have actually belittled Zimbabwe, besmirched Zimbabwe, called for sanctions to kill Zimbabwe, including the leaders of opposition, Morgan Tsvangirai the late, Welshman Kube, and Tendai Biti, and now added with another malcontent called Chamisa. They have belittled, they have besmirched their country, they have prostituted their country. I have been in opposition for 37 years. And my President Museveni, has just arrived in Nairobi where we are. But I have never called for sanctions to kill my people. I've been fighting, I've been critically, I'm one of the chief critics of President Museveni, and I have never hidden my desire of stating what is right, what he has done right, I've said he has done right. What he has done wrong, I've said he has done wrong. I have also equally been in the bush. I just don't talk. I've also been a fighter. And I don't talk like a civilian all the time. No. I know what it pains to have a conflict. Therefore, it was the beginning of the trouble that we saw. Zimbabwe fell into the hands. America followed. European Union followed after sanctions were put on this country. From that time to date, as a question of the land redistribution program, viewers and those listening to this tape, and those who will pick this tape, millions of you, I want to tell you the one thing that historically Mugabe did right, which will never reverse, whether you go to Angel Gabriel and come back, whether you want to wash your hands near God and come back, is the reversal of the land redistribution program. The land redistribution program, viewers, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Pierre Lumumba and others who are on them watching and listening carefully. The land redistribution program healed a lot we might have suffered. In 1998, 97, 98, when the war veterans decided that enough is enough, land was redistributed. The whites who wanted to remain in Zimbabwe are still there. Those who wanted to choose to go somewhere because they had second homes, they went. Those who had grievances have been compensated. President E.D. Mnangagwa, my good friend, he has tried to please these guys by saying, come, we can, okay, if it was the money, we shall pay you. But remove the sanctions. What are the benefits? If Zimbabwe is still on sanctions, why can't we speak with one voice? 54 nations stand up and say, especially the African countries and the Caribbean countries, and say enough is enough to America. Sanctions must be removed for this country to be able to sell its diamonds, for this country to be able to sell its gold. It is not that Zimbabwe is poor. It is because it has been heaped with sanctions that it cannot sell even their own resources, God-given resources. They have an embargo put on Zimbabwe minerals to be exported and sold in the transparent market. It is sad, therefore. For me, this marks my 22nd year since I started struggling for this great nation called Zimbabwe. For me, it marks a great milestone for this great nation, Zimbabwe, that I moved in. I came, I saw, and said I preferred to defend a black man in Europe than die while begging. I was a victim of attacks. I was a victim of ultra-nationalist attacks in Britain. I was published on headline newspapers. The Telegraph is read by over 80 million. When I walked out of my house, I found a battery of journalists, about 100 of them, waiting for me, saying Mugabe's mouthpiece is in our country. I never gave up. I never told a lie. I never changed my course. I never asked for money. I have never asked for a penny from Mugabe or Emerson Mnangagwa to defend Zimbabwe. I've never gone there to say, beg you, give me some money. If there is any evidence of that money, then that person must be eating the money in my name. I have never. But because of the friendship, the Pan-Africanism, the zeal of patriotism, the zeal to be proud to defend a nation, I fought Changarai physically in Brussels. I fought Changarai physically with Watchman Kube in conferences where Zimbabwe ambassador called Simbarashe Mbebegwe could not go. I could go. Where Damba could not go. Where most of these intelligence officers from Zimbabwe attached to European capitals could not go, I went. I attended those conferences. And unfortunately, we have also bad elements within our systems. Elements like Jonathan Moyo, who became a very dangerous man by directing his attacks on innocent people, by even trying to confuse President Mugabe. My policy was leave the journalists. One of the problems that I disagreed with Jonathan Moyo is on the question of journalists. I want to tell you and state categorically that it is this policy of me saying allow the journalists to report. They will report nothing after 1 month. They will be dry. But if you keep them off, they will find stories to blacklist, to blackmail Zimbabwe. The land program had already been done. There was no reverse. Even Jangarai could not reverse. There is nobody in Zimbabwe who will reverse the land issue. The land is done. And that is, it has helped. Most of us who stood firm and encouraged the late President Mugabe are seeing the fruits. Mogani Jangarai's family is still exporting flowers. Chamisa's flowers. I know a company of Chamisa which exports flowers to Belgium, to Netherlands. I can intercept the flowers and mark them from his farm and bring them to the public. But these are the people who never wanted this land reform to happen. It is up to the people of Zimbabwe themselves and those watching and listening that time has come. They have come in another way now again. They have come in a format of a regime change. A regime change where George Soros pays NGOs to surround you, to blacklist you, give you bad names. They say when you want to kill a dog, you have to give it names and later on slaughter it. There are people in Zimbabwe themselves, traitors, homemade traitor cliques that give false intelligence to His Excellency President Mnangagwa. Those should be warned that we patriots who have also stood for this nation, who have worked for this nation, tirelessly without asking for a penny. The only penny that I got was when President Mugabe met me in Addis Ababa and asked me, the late, how are you paying your bills in these hotels, my son? May his soul rest in peace. He gave me $1,322. $1,322 to pay my bill in Radisson Blue. That was the time when I said, Your Excellency, you need to have a transition. And unfortunately, when he went back, he told the wife that what is this thing called a transition? Then the wife started the transition. It is history. But my great leader, my great mentor, the great person who mentored, who gave us impetus to speak like Africans, a great man who inspired me, a great proud guy who made me proud whenever I could stand in Brussels, whenever I could challenge Morgan Changarai, whenever I could stand. You can see my name in the book of late Morgan Changarai, page number 53 of his book, in the deep end, book called The Deep End or something like that. Because I was a thorn in Changarai's ribs. I was a thorn telling him, why are you calling for sanctions? To kill yourself, to kill your people. Today these sanctions, some have been partially removed. Some are still there. So today, as we speak about the Commonwealth, Rwanda is hosting the Commonwealth. Zimbabwe 2 years ago applied to return to the Commonwealth. There are those that are saying there are no benefits of returning to the Commonwealth. I changed this topic to accommodate those who want to say we don't want to join the Commonwealth, and those who say we want to join the Commonwealth. Because the Commonwealth is Commonwealth, but Commonwealth is part of the colonization strand that colonized Africa, left us where we are, taught us the English we have, but left us with a lot of disadvantages. My own country, where I come from 37 years ago, or 42 years ago, we are overthrown by Idi Amin. We went to Tanzania, where I met most of the liberation movement, including Constantine Chiwenga, when he was a younger man. He's younger than me. I'm about 3 years older than General Chiwenga. I met several people. I met Vox Binavashi. I met several people, several generals, when we were younger people in Tanzania. The Tanzanian TPDF Defense Forces helped us to overthrow Idi Amin. I was in Chikosi Maalum 208 KJ. That moved on to Kampala to topple dictator Idi Amin. The Commonwealth stood by and watched us as we killed each other. The former Prime Minister Edward Heath, the late, engineered a coup in my own country, gave power to Idi Amin. I want to tell Zimbabweans watching and listening to this tape that we have suffered the plight of the Commonwealth itself. 1971 coup, I was going to primary senior secondary school the same day on 25th. My father left me to go because he was being looked for, having been a politician in the Obote I government. He left me to go to school with my box. And here I am today. I've never forgotten that day when Idi Amin soldiers were stopping each car, taking out people, shooting them at a close range. Anybody who was perceived to be Obote's supporter and black, anybody black or Obote's supporter was killed. Today, the Commonwealth has given quite a lot of inspiration to people, and also has also given us a lot of gloom. They have not stood to the Commonwealth itself. They have not given us the direction. There are so many things, there are so many reparation agreements that have never occurred. I remember in Kenya, the Mau Mau are looking for their money. The torture of the Mau Mau freedom fighters. These are some of the things that we should now normalize, that we have now a global village of 54 countries. Countries in Africa that were injured. Reparations are supposed to be a healing process. That once the reparations are done, there's healing. Indeed, I agree with those as a lecturer of political science, because I do visit universities here and there to speak. If you call me for 2 hours, I will speak for 2 hours and you'll pay highly on some of these topics. Indeed, I agree that payments should be made. Reparations should be made for a healing process. Any of this situation that you see must be healed. You can't say a redemption strategy is not important. You can't say just to say slavery was very bad. People need reparations. You need to reparate, to put it back to life. Redemption strategy is a healing process. We are not going to read notebooks like Mandela left us with poems. When Mandela died in South Africa, I did not cry. But when Mugabe died, I came and saw and buried him. Yes, I flew in. Even some people did not know. They only saw me emerging out of the stadium. I flew in and I thank my friends. I thank His Excellency President Emerson. I came in. I saw. There's one man I had wanted that if he ever dies, I must go and say hi to the last minute, to give me an inspiration that you can work freely without putting money first, but you work for your people, for this continent. I went and buried for a few days, and I want to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta. We saw each other there in Harare, and I came back. It is sad, therefore, that Africa should not be played about and played about. We be told. Now, this conference in Rwanda, Zimbabwe wants to be readmitted in the Commonwealth. What then happens with the 20-year-old sanctions that have hurt people? Medicines are not in the hospital. Diseases that could be cured could not be cured. What happens? People died of diseases because you have put sanctions on a small country, that ministers from these smaller countries cannot go there to collect and sit down. We lost so many people. But all in all, it is up to the people of Zimbabwe. I'm not the foreign minister of Zimbabwe, neither do I do their foreign policy. I am an international activist who is against some of international agencies like ICC, ICJ, because these are colonial vestiges that have been brought on the continent of Africa to frustrate only Africans. Does it worry you that only Africans are the ones standing trial in the ICC? Does it? I fought ICC and defeated it. Anybody thinking that he can defeat Matanga on international law, anywhere, international scene, whether Zimbabwe or what, you can't defeat me on there. I know all the corners. I fought Babugo is free. I fought Uhuru Kenyatta, Ruto are free. I fought Bemba is free. I fought Saidi Gaddafi is free. I stood firm for them. I wrote my documents. You can go to the website of ICC. Application. I don't need a lawyer to write for me an application. My applications have been very constant. I've never even asked PLO Lumumba to write one application for me. He's here on the platform, he will tell you. I've fought. I write my own application with my small English of Shakespeare and J.A. Bright. I did not read those books of Ogundipe and so on. I read J.A. Bright. I've made my applications. I've succeeded on Bemba. I've succeeded on Saidi Gaddafi. I've succeeded on President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto. They are here because I intervened. I exposed the ICC. Babugo is here. I succeeded. And I'm still pulling my strings with General Bashir. I'm the one who told Bashir. I visited Khartoum and I told Bashir, the French will finish you. When Bashir told me that he had given the French to reorganize Khartoum, I told him, are you all right? Are you, Your Excellency, are you really all right? Do you have advisors here? The French pay for 3/4 of the ICC. All the judges are paid salary from France. How will they help you to reorganize the Khartoum? It didn't take 6 months before a military coup came. Bashir is in custody today. I've stopped the ICC. I've told General Duglo, my comrade, my friend. I knew Duglo when he was a lieutenant colonel. He was not a general. The one who has taken over power in Khartoum. I told him the moment you hand in Bashir to the ICC, Duglo, the next person is you. And I will not come there to support you. You will be handed over. Because if you hand your general, then you must also go. Because you are the commander of the Janjaweed, the militia that was killing people in Darfur. So you hand him over, then they will come for you also. I've been honest. I've defended Africa. And for anybody naively, myopic, underrating my strength of knowing international intelligence is very silly. Very silly, shallow, prudish, sardonic. That anyone of any kind could imagine that I don't know international intelligence would be a very stupid person. I know Africa in and out. There's no, I told you that 5-7 years ago, Professor Pierrot, I said there will be a proxy war in East Africa. There is a proxy war. Is there no proxy war now? Professor, I told you, there's a war here that the French are making a war. Is it not there now? M23 rebels are here. We are meeting in Kigali when M23 have captured the territory of Congo. Is that not a proxy war? When I talked to that, it took only 4 months, and the proxy war struck. The first culprit was Burundi. Nkurunziza was overthrown in the morning. It took Tanzanian TPDF soldiers to cross over to Bujumbura to remove the general. That is the essence of knowing the African situation. I don't work for George Soros. I hate him. And let him hear. Can I repeat? I hate him. Because George Soros only uses opposition leaders in Africa to destroy their countries while he's seated in New York. Has it come to your minds, you Zimbabweans, that George Soros is opposite the UN and opposite Trump? If you have gone to New York at all, their towers are opposite each other. But nobody has issued a warrant of arrest for George Soros. He's an American outfit of CIA. So when you deal with him, you are collecting that money to kill your country. One of the problems why I don't disagree with a younger boy who was not born when I was already fighting and I knew how to handle AK-47 Bob Wine in Kampala. He's not worth my salt. He's not even worth my firstborn. My firstborn is 43 years old, and the Bob Wine is about 41. So why should I deal with somebody who should be playing music at my ceremony? I can't. And I've told him, if you go on keep picking money from George Soros to come here and make Ugandans. Have you ever seen Ugandans coming to the streets that they are following you? No. Because Ugandans have seen the truth. They know who are the real fighters. They know who are the real fighters. So in this world, when you are making a bed, make a bed and leave some space without putting thorns, because you might sleep on those thorns tomorrow. When Besigye was making laws that were chasing Matanga, that Matanga was being chased in Harare, whenever I could arrive in Harare, the director of external intelligence is also in Sheraton waiting from Uganda. Until one day I caught him in a lift. I said, now we are here, I can throw you through this lift. Why are you following me even here? I've suffered. I've suffered an assassination attempt. I am still here talking for Africa. And nothing will deter me as long as I'm alive. I am not interested in your money. You can have your money, but your money, you might eat it on the streets. I'm telling you because you must be careful, the people of Zimbabwe. The wind that is gathering around you is not a very good wind. It's not. The Americans are with you, gathering every bit of intelligence. They have come all the way up to Lusaka, Zambia. They have come all the way up to Malawi. Puppet states, satellite states gathering around you. My friend ED, I've known him for 23 years now. I don't go around boasting. I have never come there to ask him for even a penny. And I will never. If he gives me, fine. I put it in a charity. But I stand by my truth. That is what I am. And that is why I'm saying I put this topic for you people. That's the much I can talk for even 5 hours. I'm one of the few people who does not write things. I write everything on the paper. No. My intelligence is very clear, very different. I just pick my things. I know the subject. This is the thing I studied. I have not studied the grave digging, which is a science. Pierrot Lumumba. Thank you.